We are live with map number 2. To the right side, we have the Zerg player. Starting for the TSL team, this is
TSL Shine.
There we have him. Down a game. Has to win this map if he wants to advance. Well, to force a third map.
Right. Protoss opponent for him down at the bottom left. Gonna do a Forge Fast expand again here from the team Startail. Quite charismatic. He is.
Startail Ace.
Ace with the pylon at the bigger ramp. A bit more... Well, it's a little bit more vulnerable to early attacks, to early pools, and a bit more bustable than if you go for the pylon at the ramp itself, at the small ramp that leads into your main base. It's a matter of preference.
Yeah, exactly. We've discussed this a little bit in the past. It's all up to the Protoss's preference for this. One is not better than the other. If you can execute the one at the wall, or rather at the small ramp, most people would say that's easier, but it does have some vulnerabilities as well. And if you know how to execute the one at the wide ramp, then you're okay, as long as you make sure that if an attack comes, you know exactly how to make that extra gateway to wall off and where you make your second pylon. And if you make the second pylon, depending on how you make it, it may be part of your wall. You have to be careful about that, because Banelings are going to go right for that first. So we've talked about this a little bit, but it's just a fair choice by Ace. Looks like he is going to be going Nexus before Forge, as he's not started that Forge just yet.
And yeah, he just waits for the 400 minerals, and then he will drop the Nexus, and here we go. Oh!
Double drone. One will go to the third base, as he already knew the probe was here to block.
Yeah, the Nexus first has been started, and this probe is still being annoying. It still has all his shields. Has the hatch been built. The Nexus is already done 1/3. And here comes the Overlord. Spots, of course, the Forge and the timing of the Forge. He knows exactly what kind of strategy Ace chose on this map.
And he is going to go with the second pylon as part of the wall. So that means he's going to have a slight vulnerability, but I mean, this is just not going to come into play. No gas yet for Shine. Just desperately trying to get his natural.
What Protoss players try to do on this map, if they decide to go for a 2-base attack timing, is usually to secure a position on the high ground at the third base. If you're able to kill the rocks that lead up to the third, and then you force field the small ramp, then you are basically guaranteed that at least the third base of the Zerg player is going to die. You will not necessarily win the game, and the main question, if you are able to achieve it, is: are you going to attack into the natural, or are you actually backing off? Both is possible. It depends on how exactly you try to follow it up, if you want to follow it up with your own third, or if you try to punish the Zerg immediately. And both has risks to it, but the third base is the really vulnerable point in the strategy for a Zerg that starts with a double hatch on this map.
Yeah, and I think I discussed this briefly before we came into this map. I feel like Ace may do something a little bit, not crazy, but a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more all-in on this map, because he's up a game. He actually knows how to all-in really well. And that's not something that he has gotten himself stuck into. He's not one of these players who shows only all-ins like Tassadar has been known for example. This guy, he has shown longer games. He has shown long macro games. He knows people know that he can take a third base. But recently, he has shown so few of those games that people kind of look at him as a one-trick pony. But Ace has a lot of different strategies he can use, and I would not be surprised if he pulls out an aggressive 2-base all-in on this map against a Zerg player who's taken the third base like this, and he's ahead of game.
Yeah, this gives you a lot of safety. If you're ahead one game, you can do a lot of different strategies. You can play a little bit more risky than you would usually do, just because you know even if you lose the game, you still have another chance of winning. And if your opponent doesn't punish you for a risky strategy, then you're suddenly ahead. This is something that we see over and over again, and I love it. I love that players take into consideration if they are ahead in a match or if they are not. Now the middle of the map is just being occupied by Ace's Zealot, who tries to chase down one of the Zerglings. Well, good luck with that, buddy, but usually those guys are a little bit faster.
You never want to chase the Zergling with the Zealot. Never want... Ooh, 2 gates but not 3 going down for Ace. Okay, there's the third. He is going to hit a 4-gateway Zealot timing here. This is actually quite rare these days. You very rarely see people actually try to execute this. He needs a probe on the map, though. In order to actually execute this, he's going to need a forward pylon.
We can expect the Roach. There it is. I was just about to mention that we can expect the Roach one any second, as we currently hit the 7-minute mark, and of course Shine delivers. Also adds the Evolution Chamber, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of this build, to tell you the truth, because, well, look at this, he's actually adding 5 gates, not only 4. The 4 gateway Zealot timing is something that I'm not a huge fan of, especially because of these timing that we've just seen. But these 5 gates, that's a different story, and this could indicate a lot of trouble for Shine here.
He does not have speed, and look at the Stalker Micro. The pylon is finishing here. The first 4 gateways are going to be put to use right away.
The high ground.
And he will warp in Stalkers for the most part, I would expect here. And actually getting a few Zealots, but once those other gateways finish, he's got a ton of warp-ins available to him. And if he wins these first few engagements, the things are going to, the Zerglings are going to start, once the Zergling count gets low, so what I'm trying to say is that Ace's unit control and how many units he has is going to spiral.
At this point, the Queen is already dead, and here come the Zealots moving in. Another round of warp-ins just hit, and Ace, that 48 supply against 78, Shine is way ahead. He has a lot of Zerglings here. He's taking down the first Stalker, and Ace is hard-pressed, but warp-in after warp-in arrives at the 3rd base of the Zerg player. He has a Spinecrawler in position, but a little bit too far off to the top right. Needs to reposition it if he wants to pressure the pylon itself, but a lot of Stalkers here. The problem for Ace is that there are way too many Roaches already, but does Shine really have the production? This is the main question.
Well, I think Ace is done here. He's forced his way out with these Stalkers. He's warping in a few more just to make sure he can defend these units as he goes home. If he actually continues to attack here, I think this may be a bit too overzealous. I mean, you're right, the production is a little bit low for Shine right now, but I think he's actually going to be able to push this back. He already has enough units, and with the units he has coming, especially with these 2 Spinecrawlers, I can't see Ace actually making this work.
He's trying to buy a little bit of time for the Spinecrawlers to get rooted again, and he needs to take out the pylon in the main base. At least send one of your Zerglings over. Okay, not the pylon in the main base, but the probe, which basically enables the pylon to warp in units into the high ground. That's what I wanted to say.
Yep, and he's going to take it out right now, right after you said that. Takes out the probe with 2 Roaches. And Ace is in an awkward position now, trying to transition into robotics here. That is natural. He mined some gas, not very much, but he needs not only units but also tech at the same time. He lost so much with that push and didn't actually kill as much as he would like to.
Shine is in a great position. He has now the economy, and of course he has also the army as well. He's getting a drone after drone. Double Overlord dies, but still, with Ace now just adding his tech, this is the problem that you face with this kind of aggression. You are basically without tech. You have the +1 attack upgrade, but that's all there's to it. You don't have a robotics, you don't have any kind of follow-up, so what you need is time. And this will enable your opponent to get further ahead in economy, therefore have the better upgrades. And also the better tech just in general, and that's exactly what we are seeing right now. Shine is on layer tech, he goes for drop play, which is something that a lot of TSL Zergs have been showcasing in the past few weeks. And with everything that he has, he might just go for a gigantic Doom drop into the main base.
That's actually a really good consideration, and I mean, with how he's moving these units and how he's got them positioned, I think this is very likely. It's starting to seem like the game plan here. Now, if Ace makes a 3rd Nexus very soon, he can send some units there, some units into the main base at the drop, some units at the natural. He can attack basically from 3 locations at once. He doesn't quite have the amount of Roaches to do that yet, but if he continues his production of them and hits all of his injects correctly, he will have enough.
This Spore Prism was, by the way, really, really cool. He but in the end he spots it anyways. But it was brilliant to see how he moved in with this Zealot, sees the Zergling, moves the War Prism back, waits until the Zergling is dead, and then sends the War Prism in again. But he's a bit unlucky, and therefore Shine is fully aware of what's going to happen here.
Yeah, he's sending some Roaches back. He will have some to defend here. He can rally out as well, and he's got the Queen. Overseer trying to get a glimpse here. Does see a decent amount. The Changeling is more important here, as it does go into the mineral line and is going to see the exact composition of Ace.
Drop is done.
Yeah, it's done. He does not have his Overlords in position yet, however, to actually do any dropping. But the production I was talking about with those Roaches with the injects is starting to come up. 14 more Roaches on the way. And things are starting to get really scary for Ace, because with this many Roaches, he can actually just do this drop, do damage, remax in Roaches, and keep doing it again until Ace dies. If he doesn't defend each and every drop cost efficiently, then he's going to eventually just run out of production and run out of steam and die.
At the same time, though, we don't have a transition for Shine, which is also important to know. If he does not do damage, he's in a similar position. The game might just spiral out of his control, and Ace knows that there's a drop coming. He sees the Overlords, and there's only one reason why there would be this many Overlords. spots. But he is in an awkward position. What can he actually do? His opponent can hit so many different positions, and now he's moving into the main base. Of course Ace knows it, of course he's moving up the ramp, but he is so late already, and he won't be here in time.
No, he will not. Almost all the roaches will be out by the time he gets here. There is an attack at the third base as well. That's why he's making these cannons, but they're not ready in time. The Immortal is at the front. The cancels go up on those cannons. There's a lot of force fields here, but Shine is already starting to do the damage, taking out Immortals, and the concave of the roaches makes it very difficult to get up that ramp.
Especially the choke point works in favor of Shine, who is just rebuilding units as they die at the front. And of course the third base is long gone, while we now have every single sentry dying. And this is brilliant for the TSL. So he moves in once again, tries to pressure the Immortal, and the Immortal is going to die. The Immortal gone, which puts Ace in such a bad position.
Yeah, he's got creep spread in his main base right now. He's down 100 supply, and the next wave will hit. He also lost his Nexus. He's continuing to attack at the natural and killing the Cybernetics core. Oh,
bad news. The only unit that he can use right now are Zealots, and Zealots don't do all that well against roaches.
He probably won't even warp any in. Just continue to blink these Stalkers back, trying to buy time for a Cybernetics core, but he needs more than time. He needs a miracle.
Yeah, he needs an incredible miracle. We have
GG.
Inevitable in this situation. Ace with the gateway attack against Shine. Shine defense looks great after this and decides to go for this roach heavy attack with drop into the main base. Claims victory in game number 2, edges out a win against his opponent, and will now force game number 3.
Well played by Ace. His timing was pretty decent, but Shine had enough. And when you commit that much with that many gateways, with no real tech transition, the next phase of the attack, you're not going to have enough Immortals. Things get out of control. They get nasty. And like you said, if the drop was deterred and shut down a few times, then it's hard to find a transition as a Zerg in that position as well, without an Infestation Pit and without a fourth base to fall back on. So it was kind of risky to go for the drop play, but after the position he was in, after defending that heavy gateway pressure, he executed it well, and Ace just did not have enough. Great targeting on Immortals, nice splitting, attacking the third base, then running into the natural. Once he killed the core, the game was over.
The next game is going to be on Cloud Kingdom. Ace is, of course, getting ready, as is Shine. Ace looks like he's already playing.
He does.
What is he actually doing?
Well, he's not doing anything. He's just spamming. He's not even typing in the chat. That's what his fingers are doing. They're spamming.
Spamming and deleting the message again, I guess.
Yep. And the first, or rather the...
Did I mention that I love Sarah?
Yes.
Okay.
The final map is going to be actually Cloud Kingdom. Otherwise known as the Superman S map.
For some reason, I'm always running out of Hot 6. Every single time I have some Hot 6 cans in front of me, after the game, they are suddenly empty. I think there's a Smurf just jumping in there and drinking everything. I don't know for sure, though. And so I realized that I was in trouble, that I was in pain, and immediately he brought me a can. Such a great guy.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Yeah.
Really likes to care for people.
Look at those two.
Look at the man Shine.
With Ace, this is really funny. He's typing at the keyboard, he's clicking at his mouse, but he doesn't do anything because we are still in lobby, or we were when he did it.
And here we go, jumping into the third and final game on Cloud Kingdom against a very nervous Shine.